solution provider for small to medium-sized businesses in the U.S. Natural Networks has a strong relationship with the Academy, manages out-of-phone solutions, IT service, and as well as providing those services for many other law offices nationwide. Anthony prides his company on providing in-house reliable and quality technology business systems for his clients. For the past 5 years, Natural Networks has been awarded the top 501st managed service provider ranking in the top 100 for the nation each time. In addition, Anthony and Natural Networks collectively won over 20 awards since 2020, solidifying his and his team's dedication to being the best at what they do. Some awards include Top Tech Exec Award 2020, Largest Cybersecurity Organization 2021, ranked 1 to 9, Largest Technology Solution Providers 2023, MSP 501 Most Innovative and Influential 2024, and Top Technology Solution Providers 2025. At the core of Anthony's work is a dedication to building long-term client relationships, ensuring that every business he serves has the tools and supports needed to succeed. With that, please welcome Anthony. He's going to give us a great presentation on cybersecurity.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for having me. This is something I love doing, just sharing information, sharing knowledge, because when it comes to IT and security, the more you know, the safer you can be, the less likely to become a victim of something, right? So, here he told you a quick bit about us, who we are, what we do. You know, these are some of the services that we offer for our clients, where we take care of all the IT and the voice, and do it all in-house. He personally mentioned some awards also. But really, at the end of the day, this is what I live and breathe and love doing. Been doing it myself for about 35 years now. You come back to the booth, you'll see a copy of Windows 3.1. Because I've been doing it longer than that. So, but let's talk about you guys. So, why should cybersecurity be important to you? Well, the first thing is you have information that is valuable. So, valuable to you, valuable to your clients, valuable on the dark web. And that means money for these guys. Your clients expect that you're doing everything you can to keep their information confidential. They're giving you a lot of private information, account numbers, life insurance policy information, right? What do you want to have happen when they die? Big decisions. They're expecting you keeping all that stuff safe. And if something does happen, it's pretty expensive to recover. Now, let's talk a little bit about the before and really what things are today. So, I don't know if anybody ever saw the movie War Games, like a 1980s movie. Yeah, great movie, right? That's what things were back then. It was about curiosity. It was about, can I get into the systems? What's there, right? Bragging rights to their friends. Oh, I got to this, or I did this. Totally changed now. Now it's about something, it's not money. It is a whole industry. There was an article came out last year that ranks cybersecurity as the world's third largest economy. So you've got the United States, you've got China. Forget about our neighboring countries like Mexico or Canada, right? No, cybersecurity is next. Because that's how big cybercrime is. This is no longer some guy, in his mom's basement eating Cheetos, drinking Red Bull, and seeing what he can hack into. This is full-on organized business. That they have call center environments with people in cubicles. A couple years ago, there was a group in Russia called Conti that, if I remember correctly, was about 400 people. They did employee reviews. They had bonus programs, right? So this is ran as a business now. So, third largest economy. Now, the why. Who's the target? Well, the reality is everybody's a target. I kind of break this down into 3 categories. A is there's that kind of that Las Vegas whale, right? That big payday. So that bad guy out there, we call them threat actors in our industry, he's gonna go and look for that big payday, and he's gonna spend all of his time, or his group is gonna spend all their time researching that target, and how can we get the largest payday from that? Number two, it's gonna be the Trojan horse. That's where they will try to break into a legit company, like a Dell or a Lenovo. A few years ago, a company called, most people have heard of, called SolarWinds got broken into. That's SolarWinds supplies monitoring software to local, federal government, many large organizations. And the idea is, okay, me being the bad guy, I break into somebody that is a known, good, trusted company, a Dell, SolarWinds, and I put a back door into an update that they're going to push out. Well, then you go to Dell's website or SolarWinds or any one of these, and you go download that update. You trust it. It's Dell, it's SolarWinds, whoever. It's a name you know. Well, when you download that, along comes the virus. Then there's number three, which is the most common. That's the shotgun approach. I don't know who you are. I'm just going to go and target you. So, with the shotgun approach, it's a little bit with market, like they're talking about the other with marketing. You build a list, who am I going to target? That's not hard to do these days. You can go to ChatGPT and you can say, give me a list of every estate planning attorney in the United States, look at LinkedIn, look at their website, and filter that list down to firms with less than 20 employees, right? Less than 20, they're probably not spending money on cybersecurity, or if they are, it's very little. They might just be using a one-man shop for IT, so easier to target. They take that information, then they start writing phishing emails to go target you guys, right? And again, it's not that they have a bone to pick with you, they've never met you, they don't know who you are. You're just somebody that they're trying to get money from. Once they get that in your system, then they can take that data and do whatever they want with it, right? We'll get some more into that in dark web in a little bit. The ones you do hear about, right? Did everybody hear about Whole Foods getting hacked? Or go to grocery stores and see empty shelves? So Whole Foods is a major distributor for grocery stores. And there's lots of pictures out there, just empty shelves in grocery stores. Because they got hit with ransomware, it shut down all their systems, and they couldn't deliver groceries. McDonald's, their job board got compromised. 64 million checks, all out on the dark web. That was human error. There's a lot of this that actually happened because of human error. Somebody forgot and left the default password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? That's all it takes. It's that human error factor. Ingram Micro. Most people have never heard of Ingram Micro. They are a $50 billion company, over 25,000 employees, 50 plus countries. They are one of the 2 largest distributors in the world for technology. All your printers, your laptops, your pointers, all that stuff, probably came from one of their warehouses. They sell all this stuff, they got compromised. They're one of our distributors that we buy from. We couldn't order anything from them for a week. $50 billion company can't do a single sale for a week. And they're the ones that sell this stuff, right? Farmers insurance got hit, right? And this is becoming to the point where you just see it way too often. And everybody's fair game out there. Louis Vuitton got hit, and read that one. They're even talking about passport information getting leaked out. Who you don't hear about? You don't hear about the little guys, right? Just because like in the news, they're too small, so the ratings aren't there for it. You're going to hear about the big names, like AT&T, right? You're not going to hear about the little guys. It's just not enough to make the news. But that's who gets hit all the time. Let's switch gears and talk about the how they do it. So There's the physical attacks. Physical attacks for you guys is going to be the least likely scenario. Physical attacks come into play when they might be using something like this. This is called a screen trap. So they got to get it into your environment. Maybe I come, stop touching the mic. I come, I set up an appointment with you. Hey, I'm interested in maybe setting up an estate plan, right? I don't have anything yet. Hey, I'm thirsty, can I get some water? You step out. I take this out of my pocket, I plug it in line with your monitor, and it's powered via USB port. And then it comes home to the cloud, and everything that goes on your computer screen, I see in the cloud. You have no idea it's there. This little box is a little under $300. That's it. Not much, right? USB charging cable. Looks like a normal USB charging cable. I've got this little orange tag on it to remind myself. It's $180. Because with this, I can program it to do about whatever I want, to take data off your computer. So I can come to your office, hey, my cell phone's dying. Okay, if I plug this into your computer so I can only charge my phone with it, right? Or I just drop it off and somebody casually plugs it in somewhere, right? Oh, free charging cable. This also can act as an access point, Wi-Fi. So that I get it plugged in on your computer, and then I go sit outside your office in my car, and I'm on your network. Easy to do. This guy, this is called rubber ducky. This looks like a normal flash drive, but it's not. Give you a quick, let's switch gears here. Okay, so this is another example. It's a little bit like this cable. I can program this to do whatever I want. So here's Dropbox. There's no files in there right now. I take this guy, plug it in. Now, I'm showing all the stuff it's doing, but it's telling the computer, I'm not a flash drive, I'm a keyboard. So even if you have some of the advanced security stuff where you're blocking USB flash drives, the computer doesn't think that's a flash drive. The computer thinks that's a keyboard right now. And it's typing all those keys out, right? And it's gone. Now, we go back into Dropbox. There's a file here all of a sudden. We open that up. Here's every Wi-Fi network and password that I'm connected to. There's the ADP one, right? And that took, what, 5-10 seconds? So I get you to turn your back a bit, and I plug in that flash drive. That's all it takes. Now, the thing with the physical security, I'm going to be, you've got to be worth my time to put that effort into it, right? So maybe if you've got some high-profile client with a lot of money, maybe it's worth it to me. But I don't take the risk that you're going to see my face. I'm going to expose myself, right? So the juice has got to be worth the squeeze. More likely, most common, right, is where they're sitting in those cubicles and doing things to remotely access your systems. So compromised websites. That's where this website is gotten hacked, and if you go visit it, malware comes down to your computer. Another common one, open doors. Open doors are things like remote desktop. Remote desktop, nobody should have open anymore. Years people have been saying, yeah, you guys come out and say, close it. Do not have it open in the internet. But still, there's tons of it out there. Everybody familiar with remote desktop? Or, yeah, something good. It's just a way, it's a tool that's built into Windows where, hey, I'm at home or on the road, I need to get into my work computer, great, I can go do that. You can still use remote desktop as long as it's protected behind a VPN. But when you leave it wide open in the internet, great, you can get into it remotely, but no one so can others. All they gotta do is guess the username and password. They start do a little research, find out, oh, it's this firm, let me go to their website. All right, I see Victoria works there, and good chance Victoria's the username, right? Because there's only a few patterns that we use in IT, like first name, first initial, last name, right? There's a few, not much. And this isn't something these days too where the threat actors are out there, let me go scour the whole internet and look for remote desktop being open. There's a website for that. Showed it. So this particular website just scours the internet for things. And you could type in remote, spell it right, remote desktop. And we've got over 600,000 in China, about 400,000 in the US, and here's all the IP addresses and where they're located. And I can start remoting in. Sometimes it'll also show me the name of the computer too. So this is not something these days where, as a hacker, I've got to go spend a lot of time, do a lot of research, and a lot of work. Most of that's already been done for me. Tools are out there. Phishing attacks. That's the most common. Phishing attack, pretty much everyone knows what that is, but just to cover it real quick, right? Phishing attack is when somebody sends a crafted email to target you. Old days, you could detect them, right? Language was a little bit off, spelling errors, things like that. Nowadays, all that's gone because just like we use things like AI, they do too. So they don't even have to create emails, they can automate that. They click on that email. Quick example, one I got an email from Dropbox. And it said it was from the city of San Diego. I wasn't expecting anything, but it looked really legit. So I kind of went down that rabbit hole a bit. I did a full investigation on it. Sure enough, that email was from Dropbox. So click on it, go into Dropbox, and in Dropbox, instead of seeing a document to actually sign, it says click here to unlock document. You click on that, very quickly it opens another tab in your browser and takes you to this other website saying enter your Microsoft username and password. Right? We'll cover this more in a minute about MFA or 2FA, multi-factor stuff, where you get that like 6-digit code. But that's what they're going for. They're capturing that username and password, that code now, because then they can get into all your stuff. Ransomware as a service, we'll talk about this a little bit more too, but this is back to that whole concept that this is a business now. And instead of me as a bad guy having to do all the work, I've got to write the program to encrypt all your files, and I need to go create phishing emails and get you to click on it to distribute that. Let's do a partnership agreement. So, company, right after bad group, company A will go create the ransomware. Other individuals or other groups will go distribute it, and they do profit sharing. Again, it's business and it's money. So, and like mentioned a few times, right, this is not complicated stuff anymore. They use the tools that are out there just like we do, and they tend to stay more on the leading edge of technology. Something new comes out, they will use it right away. Example, we've all heard about ChatGPT. Well, they use that stuff too, and they also have GPT. So, now, ChatGPT, in one of the earlier sessions, a question came up about putting information into there and that information becoming public. Yes, you do need to be careful of that. But even in the free version of ChatGPT, you can go in your settings and tell it not to learn from the prompts, from the questions I ask. That'll keep your data private to you. Copilot from Microsoft, the paid version by default has that stuff turned on, and then your IT department can lock it down even further. But both of those have guardrails on them. So you can't go to ChatGPT or Copilot and say, write me a phishing email that will trick this person into clicking on this site. You can't tell it, write me, hey, I've got this dump of passwords that are all encrypted, write me a program to decrypt it. It's got guardrails on it. Fraud GPT does not. So, unrestricted AI without limitations, right? Answers any question without ethical restrictions, content filtering. Any guesses on pricing? No, they gotta make money, right? So they have monthly, quarterly, and yearly, or $8.99 lifetime subscription. That. So, and well, a lot of us have probably been using like ChatGPT or one of those experimenting with it. It's pretty easy. You can just type something in and it does it for you, right? Same here. This just made the job a lot easier. And Fraud GPT came out like July 23. So, not a new thing. Dark web. You know, everybody's probably heard of the dark web, right? Yeah. So, and it's this mysterious thing, and how do I get there? And well, nobody really knows how to get there, and it's complicated, so you don't have to worry about it, right? Yeah. The dark web is, generally speaking, for things that are illegal or unethical. But New York Post, Facebook, you can access them from the dark web. So if you want to do something that's more anonymous, right, your country's rules have different free speech limitations than ours. And getting the dark web, it's easy, super easy. Any of you can go do it. You get your tablet, you get your laptop, and you've already got browsers, Chrome, Safari, Edge, whatever you're using, right? You download a browser called Tor. This guy here. It's just another browser, it's free, but this is a browser that lets you get to the dark web. Once on the dark web, kind of the trick there is there's no search engine. There's no Google to find, show me websites where I can buy stolen identities, right? You gotta know those sites. You gotta know those URLs. There are some wiki pages that will have lists of them, but you can go out there and here's Torrent, you know, playing on eBay, right? You can buy an Amazon gift card, $1,600 balance for $100, right? You can get passports, you can get about anything out there. It's all there, it's not hard, and it's all from Bitcoin these days. Some of the other stuff on it, so we talked about ransomware, right? Ransomware, is everybody familiar with ransomware? The concept there? Just to touch on it real quick, right? Ransomware is where I, as a bad guy, get into your computers and I encrypt all your files with a password. You want your data back? Sure, pay me. And I'll give you a password to give it back. They're also have taken it to another level where they will take a copy of your data and put it in their cloud. Because they know if you can restore from backup, you're not going to pay them. And they just did all this work to break into your computers and encrypt these files, right? Because keep in mind too, at the end of the day, this is how they put food on the table. Granted, they're bad guys, but this is how they put food on the table. They gotta make money. So, they will go in, encrypt all your files, and negotiate with you to get paid. If you don't pay them, they'll threaten to post it online. That stuff is legit. Here is one example of that. So, this is a dark web website, and all kinds of different companies, right? These are all the United States. And if you look at these dates, added today, added yesterday, added yesterday, added yesterday, added, right? This stuff goes on like every second, every day. This is just one group. And this is not like a little short list. There's 70 pages of this, right? And they're looking to get paid. And all different industries in here. They don't discriminate against who you are or what you do. That said, there has been a couple that have said, okay, we make ransomware and you are not allowed to use it for emergency services, hospitals, stuff like that. There's been a couple incidents there. 911 departments have gotten shut down because of this, right? So, I mentioned negotiations. They will come up with a number, hey, pay us X amount for your data. You can actually negotiate that. And there is a site that will publish, if they can find it, they will publish those chats back and forth, and you can read them. So here's ones, these are all different chats. You can see the initial ransom, what was negotiated. You generally always negotiate it down. All these green labels here, these are different hacker groups, right? There is one, there, yeah. So here's one, they started at 8 million, they went up to 18 million. If you look at the chat thread in here, it comes, they start talking about, oh, we found out you're a publicly traded company. So we pulled your financials, we know you can afford this. Yeah. Just here's an example of one of them, right? Got encrypted, how much for encryption? Hello, you breached, currently we're preparing a list of data, we took from your network, and the English is not great because they're not from here, right? But keep in touch, be patient, we'll reach out soon. Do you have permission to conduct the negotiations on behalf of your organization? And then they just start talking back and forth, and they will, you can go to them and say, I want proof that you can decrypt my files. Sure, give us 3 or 5 small files, we'll decrypt them and send it back to you, right? And then you start negotiating price, like, just evidence of deletion, deleting data, how about 95,000? 260 if you pay today. No, we do 155, 220, right? And just go back and forth. And then at the end of it, and these guys too will do tech support and help you, make sure you get these decrypted, because their business model falls apart if that trust is gone. If people don't think they're going to get their data back, they're not going to pay, right? So at the end of it, this person did pay. They got their data back. The threat actors confirmed, yes, we deleted your stuff from our services, right? And gave them recommendations about how to be safer online and how to have initial access. Yeah. So, initial access to your network was first from the dark web. Carried on, we got password hashes, brute force those, got domain admin. Here's what they recommend: using strong passwords, 2FA. 2FA and FA is the same thing. Latest version of software, update all software, antivirus, VPNs, right? Back up your stuff. They're giving recommendations of how to stop them from hacking in, right? They're getting security report from them almost. But this is the stuff that goes on every single day. Now, some of this stuff, I get, what Aaron mentioned yesterday morning, right, is scary. This is not, I don't want this to come across as scary. This is about education. Because if you know what's going on out there, you can be safer. Just no different when we were growing up, right? There was a time you didn't have to lock your doors. There was a time you didn't need a seatbelt. You travel some other state, some other country, and another country, you're looking at what kind of crimes go on there, what do I need to be worried about, pickpocketing, stuff like that. No different. If you know what's going on, then you're less likely to become a victim. So, let's talk about some of this. I'm too small. Nobody's too small. Smaller is better. Smaller is better because you probably spend less money on security than the big companies do, right? Makes their job easier. I've got antivirus. Antivirus used to be great years ago, not anymore. Here's how traditional antivirus works. So just like a human virus, when you set code it, right? And we have different transit codes. we have to be able to identify it and know what it looks like for the antivirus software to catch it. The antivirus software is looking for a pattern, right? Nowadays, antivirus software, yes, you should still have it. It doesn't do nearly what it used to do from a protection standpoint. But on your cybersecurity insurance forms, which if you don't have cyber insurance, forget it. They will ask you, do you have that? And now they're asking, do you have EDR, endpoint detection response? We'll talk more about that in a sec too. MFA, 2FA, same thing. This is that generally 6-digit code. You go to log in your bank website, and they text you or email you a code that you have to type in, right? That used to be the gold standard. We have that. Bad guys can get it. Now, Microsoft has on their website 2 ways to around that. So, one common way is they trick you, go to a website, put in your Microsoft username and password, right? And really all they're doing is they're just acting as a proxy, a middleman. And you type in your username, they grab that, they send that over to Microsoft. Cool. They get your password, they send that over to Microsoft. They keep a copy of that. And then that 2FA or NFA code, you type it in, they send that to Microsoft. Microsoft sends back something called a token. And then they give you that token. Great. That token is like a VIP pass, you're good to go, do whatever you need to do. Well, yeah, you got that token. You can do what you need to do, but they got your token, so they can do whatever they want to do too. They no longer need access to your computer to get into your email. They can do it from their computer. That's simple. Now, Microsoft has also come out with a security add-on to help address that for about $9.45 a month, if I remember right. It's called Entropy 2. It is a security piece that you can get from them to help protect against that. Does a few other things. It does geofencing, which is, hey, if somebody's trying to log in from Russia, from China, India, anything really outside the US, block it. Entra ID P2. So they've got a P1 and a P2. P1 will stop people from other countries logging in, but P2 is the one that's going to protect against the token theft of having your interface stolen. And something we're recommending to all our clients, and we've had clients get breached from that. We even had a situation where a receptionist slash accounting person got an email, right? Did normal stuff, and then all of a sudden these emails started going to clients with, oh, hey, we just sent you this invoice, but we forgot we changed our routing number, we got this new bank, right? So, you update your records. You ever get stuff like that? Always do a verbal verification on those at a minimum. Not to go too much down a rabbit hole, but even that can be forged these days. When you get a recording of somebody's voice, there's a website called 11labs.io, where you upload that recording, and then you can type in something, and it'll come out with your voice. Yeah. But Entropy 2 does a great job to help keep that part safe. And end of the day, it's a cat and mouse game. Am I wrong? We've talked about like spam filtering. Back in the day, like we all remember kind of when email started, and it was great. And then you get these emails like, get rich quick, right? You jump down. Okay, let me just look for that phrase. If it's got that phrase, block it. Then the bad guys are like, oh, well, let me just put a space in between each letter. That's different now with a computer. So we constantly go back and forth. We put in a roadblock or some security, they figure out a way around it. I mentioned with Entra ID, you can do things where you can block people from logging in from other countries. That's where most of these bad guys are. That's great. But then they'll get a gift card, not like a Visa, right, or American Express gift card off Torbay for a fraction of the price, and then go sign up with a hosting company in the US. Even with Microsoft, we have seen attacks from Microsoft to Microsoft. Because the bad guys will go sign up with Microsoft or AWS or any other hosting company in the US, and launch their attack from here because they know, okay, some people will block foreign countries. Phishing emails being easy to spawn, but that, like we talked about already, that used to be the case. They use ChatGPT too, and they can come up with some amazing looking emails. If you can get samples of emails too from people, then you can even copy their writing style. So that way it sounds like something they would say. It hasn't happened again. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So, best practices. What are some things that you can do to stay safe? First, access. Make sure this is something I see a lot when I do assessments, is they're an administrator. They've got be it on their PC or into their O365 or G Suite environments. You don't need to be. Even me, all of my tech, right, this is what we do all day, every day. I'm not having my local computer. There's no reason I need to. I'm not installing software every day, right? And with the bad guys, once they break in, that's one of the first things they'll do is try to get elevated permissions, become kind of like an admin god on your computers, because then they can install back doors. So if you find the first way they got in, they got another way to get in still. So just make sure you're not an admin. There's an active story too about a CTO, larger company. He was his day-to-day account was an admin in Microsoft, and he got breached. And bad guys went and spun up servers in Microsoft Azure using his account, and they got a $500,000 bill in one and had to pay. And Microsoft doesn't let you talk about it. So, and all we had to do was not be an admin. That's simple. You need passwords for every website. This is something that people talk about, us IT people talk about for years, and we get it's a pain. But if one website gets breached, you only have to go change the password on one website. You don't have to try to remember, okay, well that password, I used it on this website, and this one, this one, this one. Where else did I use it? Right? But there's an easy fix for that. There are password managers. LastPass, RoboForm, Keeper, 1Pass, right? These are programs where you can have a different password for every website, and you only have to remember one password. MFA. I just talked about how MFA used to be the gold standard, and if you had that, bad guys can get in, and now Microsoft's got like 2 ways on their website, right, to breach. Well, it's still absolutely worth having. Have it any place you can have it, even your social media, like your Facebook page, right, Instagram, whatever. Stick it on everything. A lot of places force you these days. Anything banking, medical related, you have to have it. Because it's still another lock on the door, it's another hurdle that they have to get over. And the easier they can get into you, the more likely they are to target you. If you're, old days again, maybe have a bad guy like driving through a neighborhood looking for that easy house to get into. You see the one that's, doors are closed, windows are closed, right? There's maybe that sign out there about alarm system, dog. And then you see the house where none of that's there. There's a couple windows open up top. There's a ladder on the side of the house. All right, that's going to be way easier. I'm just going to grab it out. Processes. Employee separation checklist, right? That's something everybody should have. When an employee leaves, what do? The same with us. We have a checklist. Anytime we hire, anytime we terminate an employee, right? Here's a list of everything we got to do, and some things may not apply to it, may not have access to bank accounts, but it's on there to go double check it. And listen, all those websites that you get these days, all those cloud services that you sign up for, right? Just keep adding it to that list so you know what to remove them from. You should also probably go change the Wi-Fi password. They might know your Wi-Fi password. If it is a bad separation, who's to say they don't go sit outside or give that Wi-Fi password to a friend of theirs or sell it on the dark web, right? And it's easy to change your Wi-Fi password. Your IT people should be able to do that in a matter of Now, one thing you can also do to kind of avoid having to change Wi-Fi password is make sure only 1 or 2 people in the company know. And then if somebody needs to get on the Wi-Fi, okay, well, you should be able to get Wi-Fi first of all, unless you need to access the server, the printers, any protected cloud services. So you need to get on the internal Wi-Fi, sure, close your eyes, let me check the password for you. You need to learn codes. So if you should probably have an alarm system, and every employee should have their own code. We have a client where they got breached. They have an alarm system. They didn't find out until the next morning when the staff came in. Because they called the alarm guy came out, oh yeah, somebody turned off the alarm system, they disabled it. They had been in business 15, 20 years and never changed their alarm code, and they had one for every employee. They had one alarm code that everybody did. Least privilege. This is a concept in our world where you only get access to what you have to have access to. It is a little bit of a juggling act or balancing act between we need to let them do their job, right? We need to give them access to these files, these folders, right? But the more you give people access to, the more potential for data to get leaked or compromised. Remote access and remote employees. You know, COVID now, a lot of people working remotely, working from home. Doesn't even have to be in the US, could be anywhere. We have employees that work in different countries. We've got Philippines, Jamaica, Canada, right? But we have safeguards in place. So, first, RTP is not open, period. You have to VPN in order to get to our stuff. Limiting remote access type tools. If you're not doing RDP, great. Maybe you're doing like a team viewer, a go to my PC. Okay, that's fine too. Make sure they're locked down. Make sure they have MFA on it. Background checks. Why not? Why shouldn't you? Right? We do background checks on every single employee. Doesn't matter where you're located. Even if you're in another country, they're mostly used to this. They go to their state, their federal government, they submit a form, it costs a few bucks to us, we reimburse that. And if they can have a background check done by their government, they submit that to us so we can verify it. And even in the US, there's companies that will do that for you. Like one that we use is Backgrounds Online, they'll do state, federal, a whole list of different background checks, all the way down to kind of level. Company controlled assets. So, remote employees, be it in the States or foreign, you know, as much as you can have it be a computer that you own, you can control it. You can say, it's my computer. You're not going to be an admin on there. You're going to be using my antivirus, right? You're going to be having your computer locked down my way. Now, maybe they're in another country and it's difficult to ship them a computer. Okay, let me have you remote into a computer in my office, or one I set up for you in my cloud, that I can control and make sure it's locked down. Employee monitoring tools. So these are tools here on Dr. Caroline, right, where they can be used. They can be used for employee productivity monitoring, or they can be used for Big Brother, right? They can be ran in the background where you can keep an eye on what is that person doing. Some of these do have abilities to alert you if there's like a major data transfer, right? And there's legit purposes too, where an employee-facing side of it, tracking your time, right? Tracking what you're doing so you can see, where am I spending my time? How am I being productive? So these are all things to help you guys keep an eye on stuff. The network layer. This is one of those that should be a no-brainer, but we see it all the time. So, patching updates. Always keep your computers up to date. Keep all the software, keep Windows up to date, all of that. Again, your Cybersecurity insurance forms, they will ask you, how often do you update your computers? Have a real firewall. I do a lot of assessments, and I routinely find, you know, that the cable modem they get from their internet provider is what they're using. It's their router. It's not a firewall. that will share the internet connection, allows you to get out to the internet. It's not keeping an eye on what's going on. A real firewall, brands like, say, a SonicWall, Cisco Meraki, Fortinet, those are ones that, as long as you got the subscription on there, because they do have annual fees to keep the security stuff turned on, then it's looking at, what are you doing? Is that okay? Is there somebody on the outside trying to break in? They'll do things like content filtering. Content filtering is to block categories of known bad websites. So violence, crime, gross depictions, porn, like stuff you can sue for on an HR standpoint. And medical sites. We talked about that. That's one of the ways that bad guys can break in. So let's block it. High-risk countries. Good firewalls have the ability to block traffic to and from high-risk countries like China or Russia. Managed detection and response. Managed detection and response, I mentioned, we talked about antivirus, not really worth much anymore. Next thing is EDR, and MDR is stuff up from that. And we love our acronyms. We're like the military, right? People run for their money. MDR is where it's software on your computer that's sort of like AI-based antivirus. So keep an eye, what is going on? Is that normal or is that abnormal? It's abnormal. Let's flag it, kill it, quarantine it, and let's have a human keep tabs on it 24/7. With MDR, that's where there's eyes on things 24/7. Because at the end of the day, when we're sleeping, that's the middle of their workday, right? There's a 12, 14-hour time difference between us and them. So we need to have real eyes on things, keeping tabs on stuff. Encrypted computers, crypto hard drives. Windows 10, Windows 11 business version, pro version, has got that built in. It's called BitLocker. Turn that on, doesn't cost anything, but can save you. Client of ours, insurance company, the assistant to the owner, her car got broken into, laptop was stolen. That's a bummer, let's go get you a new laptop, but all that data on there is encrypted, and we can prove it. We've got documentation on that. So for the threat actor, that laptop is basically a brain. Nothing they can do with it. Email. Having spam filtering. Good spam filtering. Like pay for what you can afford. Dark web monitoring. That's keeping an eye on the dark web for your email address showing up on there. And if you want to come by later to the booth, I can get your email address and check when I'm back in the office and let you know if there is anything. There's also a free site, Have I Been Pawned, where you can put in your email address and it'll tell you if it sees stuff on the dark web. Because now that's important because when a data breach occurs, it could be a while before that company tells you it happened. But the sooner you know about it, then you can go change that password quicker and you're less likely to become a victim. Entropy 2, we mentioned that already. Credit freeze. Go to all three bureaus, right? Reporting agencies, and freeze your credit limit. Because when you check your credit, you need a loan to buy a house, loan to buy a car, get a credit card. Those are the times when your credit's getting pulled, right? There was remember they had an incident where they had an employee, that employee's husband got information on the attorney and opened up a credit card in their name and ran it up. My now 12-year-old daughter, before we left the hospital, they gave a birth certificate. They lost the birth certificate. So they did another one a little bit later and got it to us. When she was about a year and a half, somebody tried to do medical fraud in her name. Happens. So it's a really easy thing to go freeze your accounts with them, and it's even easier when you need to unfreeze it to get that loan. Backup and recovery. This is something we've been preaching for decades. Have your stuff backed up. Well, what does that mean? Because the bad guys, they break in, they know if you can recover from backup, you're not going to pay them properly, right? So they will look at your backups and delete them. So you should, if you've got servers on site, you should have a full backup on site, and you should have a full backup in the cloud. You never know what's going to happen. You could have a fire, a flood, anything, right? Forget about being breached and attacked, but things happen. Another client of ours, real estate company, their next door neighbor, which was a physical therapy place, that stretchy bands, right? Had a fire and explosion in their office, blew out all the walls, they condemned that half the building, right? But we had a plan in place, we had a disaster recovery plan, we had backups in the cloud. So, before the end of the day, we had everybody working remotely. Test. Just because you have backup doesn't mean they work. Test it. And simple thing you could do is go create a dummy file, wait a day or so, let your backup run, then go delete it, wait a couple days, call your IT company, hey, this file's on, can you restore it for me? See if they can. Immutable backups, this is where they can't delete it. So even if the bad guy gets in there, then the way the software works, we just, nope, can't delete it. It doesn't allow it. Training. Same reason you got here. Employed people are the last line of defense and the easy ones to train. You can spend all the money you want with us, we can put in the best security, but if somebody clicks on something, a lot of times it's game over. So, train your people. And training is not a once a year and I'm done. Training is an ongoing thing when it comes to cybersecurity. Because they're always coming up with new ways, right? New phishing emails, new techniques. If you're not sure if it's a phishing email or not, leave it, don't click on it. Call your IT guy, let them remote in and take a look, and they can tell you. So, why is it important? Human error accounts for 95% of breaches. So, like that McDonald's incident, right? Somebody forgot to change the password from the default. That's all it was. Somebody clicks on something, right? That Dropbox email I got. Sure, yep, it was really from Dropbox, but ultimately it should to a phishing website. 71% companies that are under 100 employees. Again, because those companies are spending less on security and training, easy to target. Insurance. I mentioned this a few times. If you don't have cybersecurity insurance, get it. If you do have an incident, well, actually, I'll talk about that in a second. Risk versus cost. In our world, generally about anything is possible. It's a matter of money. And the safer you want to be, the more it's going to cost. You don't need to get to some extent of like a Fort Knox with retinal scans and CT and everything, right? But there are a lot of simple things that can be done, not very expensive, and really minimize your risk level. Some of that too, we've got these flyers at our booth, come grab one. Or we can email them to you too if you don't want to take stuff home. And it's just a checklist of things to do that will help to minimize the chance of you getting compromised. So, ransomware, breach. So, first thing is, generally speaking, your one-man, three-man shop are not equipped to handle these. What do you do when a breach occurs? First thing, people freak out. Stay calm. Unplug the internet connection. Step one, unplug the internet connection. Don't turn off your computers, that can cause more damage than anything good. Next is calling your insurance company. That's the next call. That's the first call. Because your insurance company will refer you to an attorney that's on their panel, pre-approved. And they'll refer you to an incident response or a mediation company, a forensics company, and maybe a negotiator if needed. The attorney they refer you to will go hire these other companies, so everything is done under client attorney privilege, right? Because if you do have to notify the state that data has been leaked, then they will navigate that process. They will figure out what kind of letter needs to be typed up, what information needs to go out. The initial reaction from guys like us is, oh my gosh, we need to get you back up and running right away. We don't want you mad at us because it's our fault because this happened, right? We want to get you fixed right away. So what do? Let's go the backups are good, let's go delete all those encrypted files or encrypted virtual machines and restore from backup. And what do? We just deleted all that forensics evidence. Now, how do we know what happened? How do we know how they got in? How do we know if any data got leaked out? We don't. A buddy of mine at his firm, they had just taken on a new client, they were just starting to onboard them, they got compromised, they got hacked, they restored from backup. Great, back and running, everything's good. Come the next morning, they were encrypted again. Restore from backup, you're all good. Come the next morning, they were encrypted again. They hired a firm, a forensics firm, come to find out they had a remote desktop open on the firewall, and every time they restored from backup, well, that doesn't change username and passwords, right? So bad guys kept walking back in and re-encrypting stuff. So you need to understand how they got in, make sure they are fully booted out before you start the recovery. And simple, like unplugging internet connection, that stops any data exfiltration that's going on, and that boots them out. Now you just got to figure out if they got any back doors in there. Most states too, if you do have data that is leaked, that is personally identifiable information, you got to notify. So what makes a good MSP? First up, more than just a one-man shop. I used to be that shop. Back in the days of DOS, Windows 3.1, Windows 95, I could know everything and be good. Can't do that anymore, right? Just like on legal, you can't know every piece of law in there. So there's specialties. Same, you need a team of people on the IT side that can support you. A team that focuses on nothing but the day-to-day workstation issues, user issues. A team that focuses on or the back end, the security, the antivirus, the backup, the MDR, that stuff. That's a different skill set, also a different mindset. Your IT guy typical will be, oh, let me just turn off any firewalls, give you admin rights, so okay, it works, great. Only just make it a lot easier for the tech guys too. Location. There's this misconception that I need somebody local. Don't need to be local. If you buy good equipment, you set it up right, you maintain it properly, you can really be about anywhere. So I was talking with one attorney the other day, and he's got a practice in Washington and lives in Utah and bounces back and forth. You can be anywhere, and so can your IT guy if he does things right. Us, we've got clients in 30 states. I do not have people in 30 states, but I can still take care of it because of our recipe on things. And they should keep the tabs on stuff. They shouldn't be always trying to, sell you things, right? But it is their job to keep tabs on what is going on in the IT world, what is going on with security, and what should we look at for you guys to keep you safe. Given your risk tolerance level, should we recommend entropy to? Should we look at other things? Backups. I think I might miss this one, but make sure you back up what is in the cloud also. Most people think, oh, all my emails in Microsoft, I keep all my work Excel files there, we use SharePoint Teams, Microsoft's got it, I'm good. No, in the terms and conditions, it actually says that they're not responsible for your data. They recommend you back it up. If you go and delete something, generally speaking, after 30 days it's gone. So there's any number of situations, right, where you can accidentally delete something and not realize it. 6 months later, you're looking for it and it's gone. Backing it up, outside of that cloud to another cloud, then you can always get it back. So, questions? Anything that I can help with?
I don't know if you're familiar with the way most of us work. We use the action step system. When you look at this, it's like Clio.
I've heard of it, I haven't looked at it personally.
It's very similar to Clio. So I do have a server, but I don't use it for hardly anything anymore. It's there. And basically, all my confidential data, all my client information, everything is stored in this remote, fully encrypted. In fact, we offer clients a portal, confidential portal, which I brag about on a regular basis.
Yeah.
They can do all this stuff. So, you know, I've sort of set back, and of course, we're using antivirus software and Microsoft 360, all those other things that protect us as much as possible. But I figure Action Step has my back. Am I delusional, or is there somebody else I should be worried about? What do they
So-
think?
Having a little bit of paranoia is always a healthy thing, right? You do as much as you can on your computers, keep your stuff safe. Now, putting on that threat actor hat for a minute, how do I get in? Option A, I get into your computer, it's probably saved your login, right? So I get into your computer, and then from there, I can jump into Action Step. But maybe I can download some, you know, some contact list, stuff like that for in an Excel file. I'm not going to generally sit there and go one record at a time looking at stuff. It's not worth my time. The other thing I could do as a threat actor is try to reach them directly, go after them directly. So, and like McDonald's one, where now technically McDonald's is outsourcing to a third-party company for their job app stuff, right? But human error, somebody made it. So we put a lot of trust in all these cloud providers out there, but we don't really know what they're doing. They say they back it up, they say they've got all kinds of security controls in place. Things happen. So you can always go to them and say, show me what you've done. One thing out there that is getting some traction is SOC 2 audits. These are where it's actually an audit generally by a CPA firm. And have you done all these controls? Are all these controls in place? Microsoft Azure is an example, right? They've got PCI, HIPAA, SOC 2. They've got a page like 30 different ones. But within where it breaks down is that's for them. If you go make a server in Azure, those don't really apply. Because then you're in control of that server, right? And if you make an oops there, you expose it to the internet and you don't change the password, it's just got a default password, well, you're gonna get breached. So have a little bit of paranoia is always good. Whatever security tools they offer, take advantage of them. Monitor, keep tabs on things. Make sure we have an employee separation, that you go in and remove their user account, right? Any main line of business software you guys use, every employee should have their own account to it, don't share accounts. And then you can always have a call center rep over there. What do you do for security? Do you have a third party that comes and audits it and checks things? No.
So, 2 questions. In the beginning of your presentation, you talked about physical intrusion.
Yes.
That's kind of scary because I sit in consultations with my computer and I might get up to the restroom. Hello? Do I have to pay a ransom to get the microphone? Or get up, get a cup of coffee, I'm out of the room. Anybody can do anything. I mean, how the heck do we protect ourselves against that sort of thing? And then my second question is, like Scott, use Action Step, and my IT consultant said, let's move all your client files out of the Action Step to the cloud using Microsoft OneDrive, SharePoint, OneDrive is the access point.
Yeah.
And I think he told me that Microsoft automatically backs those files up. Is that correct? And if not, what should I be doing?
Good question. So, number one, on physical security. You go to leave your office, lock your computer. That's a simple, easy thing to do. But that's not going to protect against things like this, right? Or what? Okay. Or this guy. Because you step out for a minute, I can just go plug this into your computer or plug this in. You're not going to know. And there's no way to detect it either. So you could do routine physical audits, just simple walkthrough visual inspections, so everything will look okay. You can also do some things to make it harder to get to. So if your desk has got that privacy panel in the front, keep your computer on your side of it, where they can't get to it. Yeah.
Okay, I hear you. I mean, in our conference rooms, it's a circular table or a rectangular table, and we're sitting across from each other, so
Yep.
that's not right.
So, yeah, that's tougher to do. But keep in mind too, I'm taking a lot of risk by showing my face and doing something like this. So the juice has got to be worth the squeeze.
If you're really scared, lock it up. When you leave, lock it up.
Yeah, you can
Bring it
lock the
with
computer,
you.
but still, that's not, if you walk out of the room and the screen's locked, right? That's not gonna stop something like this. I can just go plug this in, and you may not know it's there. You could go to the extent, maybe have a box built around it, and have a little ventilation on it, some bolts that aerate through. You could do something like that. A lot of times people will take a computer, will mount it behind the TV that's up on the wall, and do a wireless keyboard and mouse, and then people don't necessarily know where it's at, right? They gotta go looking for it, versus seeing it right there on the desk, on the coffee table. Your second question on backups, no, Microsoft, by default, Microsoft does not back up your data. Now, getting into Azure, like we're doing servers with them, they do have an add-on for that. But SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams, Outlook, they don't back your stuff up. There are lots of third parties out there that do offer that. Dropsuite, Veeam, Stay as Solution 4, there's a whole bunch of them. So there's a lot of ways to do it, but no, they don't back it up.
I should definitely ask my guy, are they backing it up?
And a lot of these, again, like smaller shops, think they are, right? Hey, I wanted a Microsoft before, you deleted that file 2 weeks ago, I was able to go and restore it. Yeah, it's because it's in that trash can I recovered it. But after 30 days, it's gone. There are some other things where you can apply like legal holds on stuff, where then you can't delete it, but that's where that comes into play.
Thank you, great presentation.
Thank you. Anybody else? And if you have any questions that might be a little bit more sensitive, don't want to be up in front of the group, don't hesitate, come by the booth. Happy to talk to you one-on-one in private. All right? Again, it's education, so anything we can do to help you know what's going on out there and be safer, that's going to make both our jobs easier. So we do have a really cool cooler that we're raffling off over there, and we will ship it to you so you don't have to carry it back with you. Right? But after that too, you can always put one with me and happy to jump on a call, go over anything, maybe do a quick assessment.
Anthony, great presentation. And thank you to National Networks for sponsoring this morning's coffee break. Next up is the Women Attorneys Lunch. Will be across the hall in the boardroom where the marketing roundtable was this morning.